Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they wake up every day without a clear internal order. No structure, no discipline, no reason strong enough to pull them forward. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Talent doesn't decide your future. Motivation doesn't either. What decides it is what you do when nobody is watching. The world taught you to chase comfort. But comfort quietly kills focus. It makes days blur together. Weeks disappear. And one day you wake up asking, how did I end up here? If 2025 felt confusing. If you felt busy but not progressing. If life looks fine on the outside but hollow inside. This is where it starts to change. Not with hype. Not with noise. But with a blueprint. Simple, brutal, and honest. Stay with me for the next few minutes. Because what you're about to hear isn't motivation. It's alignment. The moment you decided to click this video, something inside you already knew the truth, even if you didn't want to admit it. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're not behind in life the way your mind keeps telling you at night when everything goes quiet. What you're feeling right now is resistance, and resistance only shows up when something powerful is trying to be born inside you. Discipline doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with identity. The reason most people fail at changing their lives is because they keep trying to add discipline to a life that was never designed to support it. They wake up every morning negotiating with the same version of themselves that created their problems in the first place. If you still see yourself as someone who quits, someone who waits, someone who needs perfect conditions, then no amount of inspiration will save you. Real discipline starts the moment you stop asking how and start asking who. Who do I become when no one is watching? Who am I when excuses are available but I don't take them? Who am I when the old comfort calls my name and I choose silence instead? That's where the shift happens. Right now, 2026 is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to decide. Decide that your identity is no longer up for debate. Decide that showing up is no longer optional. Decide that consistency is not something you try, it's something you do. Most people think discipline is punishment, but discipline is actually freedom. Freedom from moods, freedom from doubt, freedom from the version of you that keeps promising tomorrow and delivering nothing. The strongest people you admire didn't wake up fearless. They woke up committed. Commitment is what carries you when motivation disappears, and motivation always disappears. That's the part nobody tells you. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your habits, and if your habits are weak, your future will be fragile. Look closely at your patterns. Look at the promises you make to yourself and quietly break. Look at the nights you say just this once and turn it into a lifestyle. That's not failure, that's a pattern. And patterns don't change with emotion, they change with structure. Discipline is structure for the soul. It's waking up even when your mind says stay. It's doing the work even when your feelings vote no. It's choosing long-term respect over short-term comfort. Here's the hard truth most people avoid. Your biggest enemy is not lack of time, money, or support. Your biggest enemy is the version of you that has survived too long without being challenged. Comfort has made you familiar, but familiarity is not growth. Growth feels awkward. Growth feels heavy. Growth feels lonely before it feels powerful. And this is where most people quit. Not because they can't do it, but because they misinterpret the feeling. They think something is wrong with them when something is actually right. When discipline starts forming, your old identity starts fighting back. It whispers doubts. It brings fatigue. It creates mental noise. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you've touched the edge of transformation. If this feels uncomfortable, good. That means you're no longer asleep. That means the blueprint is already activating. In the next part, I'll show you why this discomfort appears right before real growth and why most people mislabel it as depression. What most people never realize is that discipline doesn't break you down all at once. It exposes you layer by layer. At first, it feels like exhaustion. You wake up tired even when you slept. You lose interest in distractions that used to excite you. Conversations feel shallow. Your old routines stop comforting you. And instead of seeing this as progress, your mind panics. It says something is wrong. It says you're losing yourself. It says maybe this grind is hurting you. But what's actually happening is pattern exposure. Discipline shines a light on everything that no longer fits the future you're stepping into. It reveals habits you used to hide behind busyness. It reveals friendships built on convenience, not growth. It reveals how often you escape discomfort instead of mastering it. This phase is dangerous, not because it's painful, but because it's confusing. Most people quit here because they don't recognize the signal. They confuse clarity with emptiness. They confuse silence with sadness. They confuse discipline with depression. But depression drains you. Discipline sharpens you. Depression makes you feel powerless. Discipline makes you feel responsible. The discomfort you feel right now isn't weakness, it's awareness. Awareness hurts because it removes excuses. Once you see your patterns clearly, you can't unsee them. You notice how often you reach for your phone instead of your purpose. You notice how quickly you negotiate with yourself when things get hard. You notice how much energy you waste proving things to people who aren't building anything. That awareness feels heavy, but it's also the beginning of control. Control doesn't come from feeling good. It comes from seeing clearly. This is where discipline starts demanding honesty. No more blaming circumstances. No more waiting for motivation. No more romanticizing struggle without changing behavior. Discipline asks you one simple question every day. Are you willing to be uncomfortable longer than the person you were yesterday? And here's where most people get it wrong. They think discipline means doing more. In reality, it means doing less of what weakens you, less reacting, less explaining, less indulging every emotion like it deserves a vote. Discipline teaches you to observe your feelings without obeying them. You still feel tired, but you move. You still feel doubt, but you act. You still feel fear, but you don't let it drive. That's power. And power feels lonely at first. Because when you stop participating in old patterns, people notice. They feel your absence, even when you're still there. They call you distant. They say you've changed. They say you're too serious now. What they really mean is, you're no longer predictable. You're no longer available for chaos. You're no longer feeding the version of yourself that made them comfortable. And that's when discipline tests you the hardest. Not with pain, but with temptation. Temptation to explain yourself. Temptation to slow down so others don't feel left behind. Temptation to return to what's familiar just to feel normal again. But normal is what kept you stuck. Normal is what delayed your potential. Discipline isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming focused. Focused enough to let go without resentment. Focused enough to choose growth even when nobody claps. Focused enough to trust that what you're building won't make sense yet. This stage feels like standing between two versions of yourself. The old one is loud, emotional, demanding comfort. The new one is quiet, disciplined, demanding consistency. Most people choose the loud voice because it feels alive. But the quiet voice is the one that wins. And right now, if you're feeling lost, disconnected, or strangely calm and uneasy at the same time, you're not broken. You're between identities. And the next part is where everything locks in. This is the moment where most people either solidify their future or quietly return to their past. And the difference is smaller than you think. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not some dramatic breakthrough. It's the decision to stay disciplined when the novelty wears off and nobody is watching anymore. By now, the chaos has settled. You're no longer shocked by the discomfort. You're familiar with it. And familiarity is dangerous if you don't anchor it correctly. Because this is where people mistake calm for completion. They start easing up. They start rewarding themselves too early. They start believing they've already changed enough. But discipline isn't a phase. It's a system. And systems don't care how you feel today. They care what you repeat tomorrow. The blueprint for 2026 isn't about pushing harder every single day. It's about removing decision fatigue from your life. When discipline is real, you don't argue with yourself anymore. You don't debate whether to show up. You don't ask if today is the day. You already decided months ago. Discipline is pre-decided behavior. It's building rules so your future self doesn't have to negotiate with weakness. This is where true confidence comes from. Not hype, not loud motivation. Confidence comes from knowing you will do what you said you would do, even when your emotions disagree. And that kind of trust in yourself is rare. That's why disciplined people move differently. They don't rush, they don't explain, they don't panic when things get quiet. Silence is not emptiness to them. It's alignment. They understand that progress often feels boring because consistency doesn't entertain the ego. It builds results slowly, privately, relentlessly. And here's the final truth you need to hear. The version of you that reaches the end of 2026, stronger, sharper, and unrecognizable, is not waiting for some massive event to change everything. That version is built in ordinary days, in choosing the workout when skipping feels easier, in choosing focus when distraction is everywhere, in choosing patience when results feel delayed. Discipline doesn't scream, it whispers. It asks you to trust the process when there's no evidence yet. It asks you to keep going when the applause hasn't arrived. And that's why most people never experience its reward. They quit right before identity locks in. They step off the path when it stops feeling exciting. But if you stay, something powerful happens. Your mind stops resisting. Your habits start supporting you. Your confidence becomes quiet and unshakable. You no longer chase motivation because discipline has replaced it. And suddenly, life feels lighter. Not because it's easier, but because you're stronger. This is the blueprint. Not a burst of effort, but a commitment to standards. Not perfection, but progress without excuses. Not becoming someone else, but finally becoming who you said you were going to be. If you follow this path, 2026 won't surprise you. It will reflect you. Now, before this video ends, it's important to make this clear. This video is created for motivational and educational purposes only. It is not affiliated with or endorsed by Denzel Washington in any way. The voiceover, visuals, and storytelling style used in this video are AI generated and inspired by motivational speaking, but they do not represent Denzel Washington or his personal views. And if this message hits something real inside you, don't let it fade when the video ends. Show your commitment right now. Like this video so this message reaches more people who need it. Subscribe to the channel if you're serious about discipline and personal growth, and press the bell notification so you don't miss our next powerful motivational video. Stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep building the version of yourself your future depends on.